You know, we subsidize it now,
for 420.
but we're going to subsidize it to a greater degree.
420,000 on the next page.
Getting shafted by Reese.
For
All right,
recycling,
home.
solid waste
But
recycling.
you think.
We set? Okay.
There are problems now.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Nantucket Finance Committee meeting for Thursday, January 23rd. I know we're on television, and I'd like to introduce all the members of the committee. Starting on the left of your TV screen, Tim Savarino, Steve Morey, Cliff Williams, Craig Sperry, John Tiffany, Jim Kelly, and David Worth, and Christy Kickham is not in attendance today. Is there any public comment for any items that are not on our agenda today? Hearing none. Approval of minutes. We did receive a packet for minutes last week, and at the last meeting, we postponed taking any action on them. For today, has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes? Okay. And discussion on those minutes?
I move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and that's for all 6 meetings?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second, okay, discussion on the minutes? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes pass, great. Moving along then, committee reports. I don't have any reports, but there was a topic that we just had before the meeting started, which I think will fit into this report, is that back at a meeting, I believe in September, maybe even August, a subcommittee was formed for Finance Committee report consisting of Tim Savarino, David Worth, and Cliff Williams, and a suggestion was made about putting something in that report, so maybe it's the time to discuss that, and I guess, one, how is the report going, if there are any updates to report?
Well,
You got plenty of time.
No updates to report. I probably dropped the ball, and I was going to get a straw man, which, as we're talking about it, I realized that I don't think I ever sent you guys.
Okay.
Because Lord knows I have such a busy schedule that it just didn't fit in. So.
Happens to me all the time.
I think we got some basic reports, though, that we took some examples. I mean, I took
Yeah,
one home.
Good.
Libby gave us some basic reports.
Okay. Well, why don't, I guess, when you're ready, we'll hear back. But on that same vein, John, you brought up a point about concerns in the future. And I guess just from a general standpoint or parameters, is that something that do you think would be part of the report, or just entertaining that thought? I mean, you'll comprise a point. The report is to put potential concerns for the future. Am I summarizing your feelings?
Yeah. My issue there is, as we've gone through some of these presentations and so forth, I start making notes about, well, this one looks okay this year, but in the next couple of years, there's some clouds. Mm-hmm. The airport. I think our island home kind of falls into that. I think that solid waste is going to fall into that. I mean, we're already subsidizing it, but we're going to subsidize it more because, from everything we can tell, Reese is going to cut into our revenue, and so one way or another, we're going to have to subsidize it. I don't know how we're going to do that. And you can go on and on. You can make a pretty good case, and if what you say is in the next 3 or 4 years we hit another downturn, like we hit, while some of this stuff is crawling at us, we could be facing some fairly significant financial problems. It's hard to see it this year, because this year we're looking pretty flush.
Okay.
That's why you don't look at things 1 year at a time.
Well, that's a thought that, thanks for bringing up, and the subcommittee can think about it and go from there and report back. We'll be hearing more. All right. Any other committee reports today? All right. Hearing none, we'll move into the next item, which is the budget presentation for the Department of Public Works and the revision of the solid waste budget. And Kara, thank you for coming. Welcome. Which one would you like to start with first? That'd be great. So we'll start with that. I think we better, because we're on camera. We want to be sure everybody hears you.
So DPW first. Public Works is the one budget that we have that is funded by the general fund. So we don't have a revenue source or a revenue discussion in this particular budget. This is the budget with the highest labor portion. We have 25 regular full-time employees, labor staff, 3 administrators, and 2 administrative support staff. We do have one open position for the facilities foreman who will assist the facilities manager. We did hire the town engineer and the facilities manager. They are both on board and working out really well. I'm very pleased.
Great.
The last year, we had not only the drop in personnel at the administrative level, but we also had several vacancies in the labor staff. So we didn't do a very good job of maintaining things last year. This year, we will be focusing on the maintenance of the roadways, fields, roadsides, and the one piece that I would like to do better is the downtown cobbles and bricks. You'll notice just recently that there was a contractor downtown doing repairs in the Main Street area. I do have a contract with Victor Paving to do bricks and cobbles and had $50,000 allocated for this year. He has spent that entire amount. There's also some repairs being made to the previous cobbling that was done by the sewer contractors, subcontractor, that was just poorly done. So that has been repaired as well. With this budget, I'm adding one additional labor staff, and what I hope to do with that individual, gaining that individual will free up staff to be able to focus on the downtown. We did add one seasonal worker, I think in the July vicinity, whose full-time job was downtown, and I think people noticed that there was an improvement in the look downtown after we put him into place. And he spends his full day down there weeding and picking up trash and just making it look better down there. So with the addition of the repair of the bricks and cobbles, I think we're a long way to improving the downtown appearance. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is eliminating the domed covers on the trash barrels. They just don't hold up. The plastic is indestructible, but the surface is just atrocious. So we're going to be installing flat circular covers with a hole in the middle. Even though it's not the best choice, the birds can still get in. At least it has the best appearance. So you'll see a change there. The other change will be, we're discussing putting out 2 barrels instead of 3 in the locations that have 3 barrels, and putting all recycling in one and trash in the other, and doing some separation. Also trying to reduce the appearance of the barrels. So a couple of changes we're talking about.
Okay.
In terms of the budget, we're increasing 1.4%. There's a 2.3% increase in the payroll. Excuse me. The largest increase is in roadway materials. We are making a concerted effort to do repairs and reconstructions. In conjunction with the Phase 2B sewer project, we'll be reconstructing Fair Street and trying to get a little bit more curb reveal there so that we can keep the water in the street and not have it flowing down the sidewalk and possibly into people's houses. That's pretty much what I have. I'm welcome questions.
Fine. I got one question I have before turning over. I'm curious about the bricks and the cobblestones. Do you anticipate by the time summer rolls around that you'll be able to have Main Street and the other streets in good order, or is it another year away?
Unfortunately, it's going to be a long-term project. They haven't been attended to in a very long time.
Right.
And I'm trying to focus on the most visible portions first. Okay. But there's a lot of work on sidewalks as well as roadways that needs to happen.
Okay. Thank you. Let's start with questions. But David.
On the cobblestone issue, are the contractors are obviously responsible for replacing the cobblestones, or in places where we have real timing, is that a result of the fact that they're going to come back a year later, so they're just not doing a good job? Are they...
No, they just didn't do a good job in, it's more art than science, installing cobblestones, and unfortunately, not all artists are up to the task. And the individuals who did, especially the repair at Main and Pleasant, it was just very, very poorly done.
So do you do a holdback at all on your contracts for this?
Yes, yeah, they have not been paid for that.
So you then have the money available to go and get somebody else to do it?
If necessary, yeah, we do have the money. They actually hired the same contractor that we had repair our streets at Federal and Main, do the repair up at Main and Pleasant. So fingers crossed that is a gentleman who does know what he's doing.
Thanks.
Okay. John?
I'm curious about this facility foreman job, because to me, I wasn't, I knew that we were going to, in fact, I very much supported hiring a facility manager because I felt that the town and all over, we needed that. I wonder, what is the facility foreman going to be doing that the facility manager isn't going to be doing?
The manager's job is going to be taking a look at all of the town facilities and identifying the projects that need to be done and taking the list of all of the facilities and prioritizing all of the repairs. So I visualize that job as being a lot more working on the computer. The facilities foreman is the gentleman who would, or gentlewoman who would respond to immediate repairs. A light bulb is out, a doorknob needs its fixing. So that will be the person that the facilities manager will have doing the hands-on repairs.
The foreman will be doing, the foreman will be doing the work?
The repairs.
Well, then he wasn't a foreman, he's mainly, he's
It's a two-man department or division.
Okay. I just...
If they need any additional staff, they'll be sourcing the staff from the DPW crew, and that will have to be coordinated through the operations manager.
I've worked with facility managers myself on many occasions, and I just have never seen a setup like that, that's all. Is that...
Different ways
We
to
already
skin a
have
cat.
we already have a full agenda for the foreman to get to.
Jim?
And maybe you covered, you taking any questions on your budget? Tell me, remind me what is going on with mosquito control again.
Mosquito control was an item that was authorized by town meeting 2 years ago, $100,000, which increases by 2.5% each year. And there is a mosquito control committee who is administering that budget. We currently have a contractor, Vector Disease Control, Inc., who is out doing the testing and the treatment for mosquitoes in areas that they find mosquitoes on public property. We are only working on public property at the moment. Actually, Charlie Stott and Ken Giles from Nantucket have done an incredible job with getting rights of entry from people, especially in the Nantucket area, so that if we need to cross their property to do treatment, we can do that. So I think the reports I got this year was that Nantucket was in great shape in terms of mosquitoes.
It's going down
Yes,
by
yes.
44,600 next year. Why the drop from 102 to
The additional
57?
person that we're hiring is going to be, the one component that we haven't done of the mosquito control program is the maintenance of water. And that would entail clearing channels, moving impediments to keep water moving, and we're hiring a person full-time that will take care of that. And then we have additional things for that person to do.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Further questions? Cliff?
I was just going to recap. I thought we just voted that $100,000 was a one-time. It wasn't? every
It's
year?
recurring.
Oh,
Well, I think the appropriation was a one-time, but the program itself is recurring. Is that a better way of putting it?
It was an operating override of $100,000 First year it's dedicated to mosquito control, subsequently you can use it for whatever you want, you don't have to use
Okay.
it for mosquito control, but we've been using
Season.
it.
That was a debt exclusion. Yeah. Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
What's, I always look at these budgets, in the DPW budget, at the very bottom it says other, where 2011 we had 14,000, now we're doing 63,000.
Things that don't fall into buckets easily, office supplies, postage,
So it's more of
a catch-all kind of thing.
okay.
Okay.
Can I ask another one?
Sure.
And professional services,
You're hot.
yeah, it was way back, it was 36,000, now we're up to the last 2 years, 150, now 108. What do we, that's just,
When we hire people in to help us with different projects that we have to do, there's cemetery mowing, there is the bricks and cobbles. It's just staff, contractors that we have to bring in above and beyond our own staff to do the typical.
Okay.
can I ask another one?
One more, then we're moving on.
Okay, the payroll, it's gone up a little bit, but have we, do we have less people and the payroll's up 400,000?
We have newer people,
You know,
and as a result, they're lesser salary levels than, we've had a couple of retirements with higher level pay.
okay.
Okay. So, Jim?
Just to follow up on Libby's comment or answer on operating overrides. Can you give me another example of an operating override that's currently in place?
We haven't had an operating override in a long time. Maybe a prior one would have been, there was an override for solid waste on the price one, and those haven't.
But there's no salary cost that is an operating override. Okay, I'm just asking, I couldn't remember.
No.
Okay. So it's not like when we vote on the town meeting for the union agreements or the $100,000, that's an operating override, it's all general fund. Okay.
Yeah, I would wonder if an override for employee salaries.
I know, I'm just asking. No,
That's an example.
Thank you very much, Madam Town Manager.
Okay, further questions? Tim?
Karen, I was just wondering if you could comment, coming to a point where we've had the town engineer for almost a year or
Oh, no, 2 months. 2 months.
2 months?
How's that work? Can you see that is working the way you presented?
Yes, very much so. He is, first of all, doing a coordination with the transportation planner for projects that are being generated from the planning department, which is a huge thing in our world. The other is that he is also a certified procurement officer and is working with us on the myriad of procurements that we have. He is working with the planning department to do plan reviews for planning board, zoning board, projects that come in, and also being the oversight or the office oversight for projects that are being done. So it's actually working out very well.
Great.
If I could follow up on Tim's question, the engineer being in-house now, was it done because it was more cost-effective compared, I assume we were having outside engineers before?
Yes, yeah, we hired local survey and engineering firms, and not only is it more cost-effective, but time-wise, the response time is so much quicker rather than having to go out for a procurement, and he is a licensed professional engineer, so we've had several drainage projects that Bartlett Road is an instance where we were waiting to get a calculation as to how many infiltrators need to be installed, and he had that calculated within a very short time of arriving, and now that work is complete. So cross fingers, everybody has to check Bartlett Road and make sure that that lake doesn't create itself again.
Tim?
I'm glad to hear that, Karen, because I think many in town have thought we've needed an engineer on staff for quite some time. That was a little longer than 2 months, so it's hard to
Yeah, he started beginning of October.
do much of a review. But the second question I have for you is asphalt.
Yes.
It appears that, particularly downtown, our asphalt condition of many of our most heavily used roads are bad. And I was wondering if you could comment on, it's hard to see much in the budget, but there's some significant costs, I think, in the very near future.
Right. The biggest source of funding for paving is Chapter 90,
I know.
where we get approximately $650,000. There's also a capital authorization for this current year of another $650,000. And the money here for roadway is more the smaller projects, the repairs and so forth. It's actually the most money I've ever had anywhere to do roadway work. We do have a roadway study done by Maytech in, I think, 2007, maybe. And one of the things that Silvio is going to be doing is getting that updated. And the priority system that was outlined in the Maytech study, the further away you get from a study, the less accurate the evaluation is. And the evaluation is as old as the report is. So I wouldn't be surprised to find that when we get that redone, that there aren't some roads in the downtown that rise to the top.
It's so bad. I mean, I hope that becomes a priority for you because well, I'm sure you do pay attention. You probably cringe every time you drive around. But, thank you.
I'll ask a question. Snow removal. I
Yes.
see that request is for $25,000.
Yes.
Considering how it's been recently, are we still comfortable with that number going forward?
Actually, we already had salt from last year. We have
Okay.
a stockpile of sand, so we don't have to buy that.
Okay.
Salt we had from last year that didn't get used, and we did just get another salt delivery. Depending on what the rest of the winter brings us, it's really only salt that we're paying for. We pay the overtime for the staff through the DPW budget. So if there's an overage, it would be in the overtime for the DPW budget.
Okay, and that would be more of a budget transfer at the end of the year then, if we're
Right.
really stocked. Okay.
Right.
All right, great. Jim?
I remember a couple of years ago, we were going to, our source of sand on the island was going to be going away, possibly. Whatever happened, do you know anything about that? Or
Well, the sand we have now was from the mining operation at the landfill. There was a certain amount of sand that was suitable for placement on the roads, and we split that half and half with waste options. So we've got right now, we have a good pile.
John?
Yeah, this is a curious, on your Park and Rec revolving fund, there's a line item, property use, which is a fairly significant expense. What is that?
I believe that's the money that the hospital pays for using jetties for the pops.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yep, that's the pops.
That's a good question.
There was
No, I know.
not a payment for a while, and the hospital was holding the money. They gave the money to the town, and that's where that is being held.
If no one else has,
No, go ahead.
I want to get into capital a little bit, because I know that's something near and dear to your heart. On the bike, you've got bike path paving on your long-term capital, and I noticed that you've got Nantucket and Surfside figured out over time. What about the other bike paths? Are they beyond the 10 years so that you?
They're close. They're close. And what we're going to be doing is prioritizing those as well, so that we can create our paving list and anticipate how much we're going to need each year.
Okay, but when I look at it, you look at those two you've got covered, and then you say, well, what about the others? And then I said, well, maybe it's because the others,
They're in the out years.
they're going to go beyond the 10 years anyway. So.
Right,
Because most of them are in pretty good shape, except for the two you're talking about.
right.
Yeah, okay. Where do we sit on the Orange Street, Union Street?
Intersection.
Yeah.
We are waiting for the contractor, consultant, to have the permitting completed for the Consu Springs project. As soon as that gets completed, as a matter of fact, we were supposed to be at Conservation last night, but it got canceled because of the weather, to talk about the Consu Springs project. And that's basically the only thing we're waiting on at this point, to get that permitted and budgeted, and then we'll get that under construction. The other project that's kind of coinciding with it is the in-town bike path that's going from the end of Washington Street across the railroad bed out to Orange Street and
Yeah.
down Orange to the Rotary.
Those two items I didn't see in the capital planning, and I just wondered where they
Well, I
went.
think they've been
Well,
funded.
the bike path is state-funded.
Pardon?
They're
Is
funded.
state-funded,
Yeah.
the bike path.
Yeah,
And,
but it
yeah,
needs
the
to-
Consu Springs, I haven't got a final number yet, so I didn't put it in the
Consu
budget.
Springs, that's you got in, I think, in 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Next year.
Yeah, yeah, what I couldn't find is the Orange Street, Union Street, and then I couldn't find, and I didn't know what happened to the,
It's all wrapped together.
huh?
It's all wrapped together.
So that's the timing of it then. In other words, whatever the Consu Springs timing is, that's what this timing is
As well.
Now, what about the in-town bike path? That sort of went away as well.
No, that's still moving forward. It's a state-funded project,
Yeah,
so
what's funded, how it's funded isn't, it still needs to be on the.
that's going through the permitting process, and Mike Burns is working that through.
Okay, okay.
That's in the capital.
Yeah.
I-
But what year is that? Was it? It's in 15?
There's some professional services money for the in-town bike path.
Okay.
And the Orange Street, Union Street, I think there's a prior year.
Prior, yes, but
Yeah.
it's been funded. That's yeah, right.
It's
They're
about
appropriate.
50,000 to start.
Okay, no, that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to think.
Yeah.
But
Well,
okay.
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 I- yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I didn't
Further
see
questions?
it. Maybe I just blind, I guess.
I guess one overall question on Park and Rec, being that it's still relatively new to the DVW, how do you find it working out for your department?
Well, it's actually in another state of flux. The DPW is scheduling the fields and obviously taking care of the fields. The visitor service department is taking care of the children's beach activities. So anything related to events and anything to do with children's beach is going through the visitor services department. And it was a lot to have on the plate, and having visitor services step in has been very helpful.
Good. Good. Glad to hear that. Great. Thank you. Further questions for DPW? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Tim, it's your hand.
Sure, I just have one question. It's always bothered me. Sometime after Columbus Day, I know the guys got out and they did all the painting, across walks,
Yes,
so on and so
yes.
forth. And here we are in January, and they're pretty much all gone already. And I was wondering why we don't look at using the polyenamel paint so that it lasts, as opposed to keep redoing it over
This
and over.
this past season was, in my estimation, a major glitch. There was supposed to be a procurement for paint in March, and that procurement didn't go well. And as a result, we didn't get paint until July, which in the middle of the summer, we can't paint, so it got put off till October. What we will be doing in the future is making sure that we've purchased the paint before the season starts, so that come the warmer weather, April, we can get all the painting done, so it's done for the summer. And I'm actually incredibly embarrassed that you go down roads and there's no center lines and there's no sidelines, and it just drives me crazy. So that's going to get done as well. We've actually contracted that out so that we have a consultant that we can access.
Will you be using the paint, though, that's more durable than just?
We do use the thermoplastic paint to do those crosswalks, especially in the heavily traveled areas. I noticed the same thing. The one on Fairgrounds, on Old South at Fairgrounds, gets the tire tracks are gone almost immediately. It's very tough to keep that paint down in high traffic areas.
Okay. Further questions? All right, thanks. That's very good. Why don't we move on to solid waste? And everyone received a revised solid waste budget recently.
We met with our consultant, George Aronson, and he and Town Council have been working very closely with Waste Options attorneys to negotiate a new agreement regarding the C&D disposal. And in it, there is a sliding scale of sorts, and he and Town Council had vetted that and done some calculations. So he sat down with us and we made some assumptions as to what we think we might get in terms of tonnage for the C&D once Reese opens his transfer station to the general public. I believe he has it open for his own waste right now, but it's not open yet. He had indicated to me that he would have his own stuff going there first, then he would take on his clients, and then after that, take general waste, waste from, C&D waste from general people. But there is, the only way you can dump there is if you have a vehicle that dumps. So it will preclude some waste. But we sat down with George and went line by line and came up with an estimate of what we think would be reasonable to expect in the coming year with this new agreement. And the revenue numbers that we are estimated is $2.667 million, and our expenses, because it's tied in as well to what we pay Waste Options, 8.542. So as a result, our general fund subsidy number is 5.4 million. So I think there's a much higher level of confidence that this budget will correctly address the changes in situation that we're going to see in the coming year. We did also add $500,000 to a contingency line item, so we have a little bit of room there as well.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ready for questions? John?
Looking at the numbers specifically, the revenue number with the situation with Reese Trucking and so forth, which you're just, you're showing a decrease of about 7%. Is that reflective of that?
Yes.
Is that enough?
I think so. Right now, Reese is about 12% of our inflow, and Santos is the other contractor who will very likely be using the Reese facility, and they are 13, but they're not going to use it right away. So I think that's reasonable to expect.
But they're going to attract other people, though, is fine.
Well, not everybody can use it, so I think.
Okay.
I think that the way we've structured it is.
If we look beyond, excuse me, 2015, and if we were talking about 2016, would you think it would be pretty flat level at that point?
Well, I think we're going to have to depend pretty heavily on what we experience in 15 to project to 16. Because right now, it truly is a crystal ball situation.
So you don't, yeah, okay, you're not.
Yeah.
Yep, no, okay.
Okay, Jim, and then David?
So if you could just kind of, maybe, I don't know if you have any kind of list of assumptions you made as you got to the 7% and
Yep.
exhibit. But what I heard you say is 25% of your business has a high likelihood of going away, and you're forecasting 7% reduction?
we assumed that, wish you could see my notes. Do nothing. Okay. In the budget, we have $2.5 million, which would be about 6,600 tons. We are bringing in, right now, 10,000 tons. So if we reduce the 10,000 tons, we get to, with Reese and Santos, we get to 7,500 tons. And using the new numbers from the new agreement, which the selectmen have not yet ratified, but hopefully will, we come up with, instead of 2.5 million, an estimated revenue, 1.9. And then we also have to factor in the C&D building fee, as well as the tons per year. There's a fee for mixed excavation waste, and then the C&D fixed fee expense.
So can I, before you go on, can I just ask one, because my question's maybe pretty simple. So you've got 10, and you're going to drop to 7,500 based on the market.
But the
You
cost,
budgeted-
the cost is different?
I know, but I mean, forget the cost, but then you budgeted 6,600. So what are you saying?
No, at the existing cost, the 2.4 was 6,500 tons, or 6,600 tons. At the new
So,
costs,
Okay, so.
the cost is factoring in, which is causing, we're not going to be paying as much.
No, I know all that.
Okay.
Whatever deal you come up with, you have. I'm just saying is, I'm trying to understand the likelihood of you meeting your tonnage. So you're at 10,000, you're going to go to 7,500. So what did you budget for tonnage? 6,600 or 75?
75.
Oh, okay. All right. And then that all trickles down into a 7%,
Right.
whatever that is. But, so that's reasonable. Okay.
David?
Just so that, to come at it slightly differently, so you're budgeting basically a 20% decrease in revenue on the tipping fee, is that correct?
Correct.
And then, so that's C&D waste you don't have to transport.
Right.
I didn't see a corresponding decline in the freight charges for next year.
I believe we left that because the freight charges have not gone up in a couple of years, and we anticipated that there might be a change in that.
I had the same question. Didn't know.
I mean,
For the freight, just to explain, the number that was used, I believe per tonnage was $130, but that hasn't gone up in 2-3 years. So we decided to go with more conservative estimate of it being 140. So that's why the freight is staying almost the same. We're not changing the number because we're assuming it's going to cost more.
That's about an 8% increase then you're thinking about,
Anything that doesn't get spent would close to the retained earnings number.
yeah, no, I understand that.
Further questions? Oh, Cliff.
Drag it out. C&D, say we just got rid of C&D, what would our expenses be at the landfill to run, just get rid of the household trash?
It's one of the things that we did consider, but it wasn't something that we were able to negotiate with Waste Options.
So we have to pay them regardless for the C&D also?
Yes, it's part of our agreement.
What do we pay them? Say no one bring another piece of wood there, what do we pay them for C&D?
Let's see, the minimum is, the 23,000 is for the municipal solid waste.
There's
A set
monthly
charge.
charge for the building, whether we use that building
Or not.
There's a charge, and it's between, I don't know the exact number.
300,000?
$400,000 a year.
John?
Yeah, your utilities number seems to bounce around a little bit.
It does.
You know, so I guess I was kind of wondering what was going on there. You know, 2013, you were here, and then you figured for 2014 a significant increase, then you went back down to somewhere in the middle for the, can you tell me what's going on there?
It's all related to the amount of time that the digester is running, and this year it's going to be down because the digester wasn't working from October to mid-December. Yeah, and there was a long time in the summer that it didn't run either. So it's strictly related to how much the equipment is down. There was a change-out of bulbs and so forth by the electric company to try to reduce electrical use in that vein, but it's mostly related to how much the digester runs.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, so you've actually figured that on that basis then? As best you can.
I assume that it's running all the time and project that out for 12 months. We did it actually, or George explored with Waste Options, running it periodically, obviously full-time in the summer, but less in the winter, and it wasn't something that they had on their horizon or something that they wanted to take a look at.
Well, in 2014 budget, you were at $402,770, and then for 2015 budget, it's $324, which is a significant drop, though.
Right. The 13 was the first time that I was budgeting, and I was trying to, make
Okay.
sense of the numbers and
So that don't pay too much
got a
attention
little
to
bit.
2014.
I got a little bit better with it. Yeah.
So 2014 is suspect then. Okay.
Yeah, either way.
It was conservative.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Didn't want to underbudget.
I would say.
Jim?
What's the operational impact of the digester being down for half the year?
They actually had to get permission from DEP to be allowed to put it into the existing line cell that is there, that is unused at the moment. And right now that the digester is working again, and they had to cover it. Now they are having to excavate it and bring it to the tipping floor and start loading it. So right now it is working overtime to get all of the stuff in there that's been sitting.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It does when it's working.
So there is, okay, so.
But when it wasn't working, all the
So is
waste.
there like a 6-month back?
There's
If
a
it
couple of
runs
months,
all the
yeah.
time,
It's going to take till springtime to get it all in there.
Jesus.
and it's, okay, all right.
John?
Yeah, on the capital, I keep hearing something, but I haven't seen anything on something about alternate energy generation
Yep,
or something.
that's not ready for budgeting yet. It's something that George is exploring, the possibility of taking the residuals, which is what we're putting into the lined cells right now, taking that and burning it, pyrolyzing it, or using some kind of resource recovery to basically eliminate all of the waste that we have. It's a brand-new science that he's looking into. We have a very small amount relatively, and not a large opportunity for that residual waste. So there's a lot of caveats to that as to whether it's going to move forward or not.
Well, we've got a new cell construction that's figured in 2015.
Mhm.
That's not going to move along quick enough to have any impact on that, then.
No, we will still have to have the new cell when, in that time frame, because we'll have to have, DEP requires that the residuals be put in a lined landfill. So as long as the digester is working, we're going to have residuals that have to be put in the lined landfill.
Yeah, just a much smaller amount, though.
Well, the same amount as always, that we've always had.
Anything on gas recovery?
Same issue.
Okay.
all of the resource recovery opportunities are being looked at.
That's sort of a one chunk.
Mhm.
Okay.
Tim?
Gary, I want to go back to that C&D diversion, because I'm trying to follow the logic from your presentation and the reduction of tonnage from 10,000 to 7,500. And I'm trying to think of the capital expense that the competitor spent only to see a diversion of 25% of the race stream. It would seem to me that he would be going after, he or she would be going after a much bigger slice of it than that, which leads to the question, how confident are you in your projection that only 25% is going to go away? It would seem that he could drop the price and take it all, or take 50% of it very easily.
We did talk about the price wars and, the opportunity to keep dropping prices. We also have the same opportunity to drop prices. And it also means that we would be paying less to waste options and less for freight and so forth. So that's why we had George sitting in with us on the calculation.
Would that be waste options' decision to get into a price war, in essence? Or is
Yes.
it
They
would
will be setting the C&D prices
that's what I
under
thought.
this new agreement, not the town.
Okay.
What kind of, if I could follow up?
No, go ahead, yeah. I
What
interrupted
kind
you.
of, if there's been a shift, what kind of guarantees that there's not a cartel? And, on both sides, I'm just curious from the public's perspective.
I would hope that everybody's negotiating in good faith. That would have to mean that there was, some kind of collusion across the board.
No. But does the town still have an oar in the water, so to speak, or does Waste Options and Reese control the C&D stream themselves?
No. The new agreement ties the town into it peripherally.
How?
Yeah, no, that's I'm thinking the same thing. Because it was just what I asked before, is that it seems to negotiate the waste option is, but the towns, you would still have influence on that.
Yep.
That-
Yep.
okay.
What we pay Waste Options is on a sliding scale, so that the less they pay, the less they earn, and then we earn as well. So there's, everybody has an oar in the water, so to speak.
Jim?
Let's say that the Board of Selectmen, like they've done with refrigerators, is so concerned about C&D being dumped by the wayside that we have a free C&D, we have C&D holiday. Do we have the right to do that?
That's a good question.
I don't know why we would do that.
Yeah.
Because then we wouldn't get any revenue.
Well, why did we do that? Why do we exempt refrigerators? And there was a public health reason for doing
I
that.
think it was public health.
Okay, there was a reason for
There
doing
was a
that.
reason, and the
Okay.
reason was that people were finding dumping everywhere. I don't think we found seeing.
Well, it could be done. I mean, I'm asking, is it, the Board of Selectmen could say, for the same reasons as we don't want C&D dumped in the, wherever, we don't want refrigerators and sofas, we don't want C&D, can they do that? Could they have a holiday?
The price for C&D will be set by Waste Options.
So we don't have.
We don't have
We may
any.
have an oar we may have an oar, but I don't think it's in the water.
We're
We don't have any
we're
right-
getting paid a percentage.
But we can't set the fees,
Not anymore,
so.
if this agreement is reached.
So why?
So it's
would-
kind of premature, I
I mean,
guess.
to me, that seems like we're giving away things. We're giving
Well,
things up
you-
without knowing a little bit.
Yeah,
And the agreement is complex,
I'm sure.
and it's been ratified by the board, it's been ratified by Waste Options, we're waiting for signatures, but it hasn't been ratified by the board in open session, so we can't really give it to you yet.
Right.
But we
Oh.
will give it to you as soon as we have it.
We can.
And
Okay.
we actually talked to George last week, because George is our primary negotiator. We could have him come in and give you a little sort of primer on it, or decoder, as Bruce likes to say. But he walked us through the whole thing last week, and while we wouldn't be setting the C&D price anymore, somehow if the board were able to say, we're not going to charge for C&D anymore, we are going to pay a lot more to Waste Options.
I think it would make sense to have him come in once this is finalized, but at this point, it's too soon.
Okay. That might, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
But do you think we're at a better competitive advantage as a result of this agreement, or worse?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
All right.
Very good. Cliff?
Just always trying to figure out what exactly we're paying for. The truck comes in, it's full of C&D, it goes across the scale, they weigh it, they charge the customer. The customer dumps it in the building. Waste Options fills another empty truck up. It goes in the boat, we pay, that's what the transportation cost is us paying for that truck.
Yeah,
So they just get paid to load the truck.
It's 372 tons, and we pay Waste Options $130 a ton to load it, take care of it. Actually, there's two different kinds of waste. One's 130, one's 190, and then the freight is on top of that.
But, so, the way it breaks down is, we pay them to load it, do any processing if that's needed. Process, load, transport somewhere else, and then there's a charge.
And dispose.
For the final disposal site, which is included in the one. So
One-
there is the additional.
No, it's included.
Who pays the, when you say transportation, we pay for the boat fee, that's the 1.3 million, and then we pay the transporter also?
Yeah,
Okay. Or they pay him, we pay him, or he pays him?
We
pay
do.
Waste Options, or we pay Waste Options to transport it, or they transport themselves, or they hire somebody to transport.
Ultimately, we pay.
It's just a separate line item.
When we pay his bill, it comes out of several different line items, the shipping line item. and-
Yeah, I got
It's
you.
broken
Yeah.
down that way.
Okay.
Okay. David?
Looking down the road, so Waste Options contract expires in 2021,
I think 9 more years?
so...
21.
2024?
Anyway,
21.
9 more years. So a couple of questions. One, on alternative technologies, when do you think the town's going to have to make a decision about that?
As soon as possible. We have hired George to do the evaluation so that we can start thinking about what we need to do when this contract is finished. Do we renegotiate it? Do we continue composting in the digester? What's the life cycle of the digester? It's needing repairs quite frequently. It's been down quite a bit this past year, and there's some pretty big decisions that we have to start thinking about for when this contract ends, and that's something that we are doing right now.
Are you, in the course of looking at options, have you looked at the town basically getting out of the landfill business? and
That is one of the options. Mhm.
Jim?
I'm sorry for this. So is there who owns the digester?
The digester, I believe it's town property, Waste Options.
Okay, who's responsible for the operation of it?
They have-
Waste Options.
Is there a performance clause that says it must be operational a certain percent of the time? Or?
It's not defined that clearly. They have the responsibility to operate it. It's not given parameters.
In terms of it doesn't have to be up so many.
No, but if I'm not mistaken, if they have to, it's at their expense, if it's down for a period of time, they have to put stuff aside and
Okay.
do whatever.
You're not paying them.
They have had to ship off, and that's entirely at their cost.
And the pain and suffering the Vatican residents endure because of the odor is,
That's
they're
their-
I mean, the Waste Option is liable for that, or, okay.
The town will get dragged in too, it's tough.
Okay.
We turn all over.
It's actually not the Mattocket residents, it's the Trotz Hills residents, that really get...
And the DPW
down-
office.
And the DPW office, they're down there.
That's bad. Okay. Further questions? Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
informative. I think it would be helpful when everything is public for George to come in. Libby, if we could schedule that, that'd be great. I think that would be nice to have. But thank you, Karen. That's great. Okay. Oh, sure.
Chairman, one other question, and maybe Libby knows sort of...
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Any history around this. Have we looked at, on the C&D waste, just attaching a fee to a building permit and get out of, to worry about that and yet still collect fees on it.
We have talked about attaching it to a building permit. We have talked about just an extra fee for anybody who goes into the and so far, the board has not come around to pulling the trigger.
And what's the summarized rationale for not more closely attaching the expense to those that drive the expense?
I think I know the answer to that, David. Let me, if this jogs your memory, I believe under state law, the town can't, the citizen has to have a choice or an opt-out. And I think that's
I'm sorry, citizen as to what?
the rules governing waste in Massachusetts. You can't have, I believe you can't charge a fee to everybody. People have to have the ability to opt out of the fee if there's another arrangement made, which is why.
No, what I'm suggesting is that we just attach a fee to the building permit.
Right, for everybody.
And then let the town get out of the C&D waste and let Reese and those guys deal with it. Which is actually giving you choice, because then I, as a taxpayer, who may not be doing a building project this year, don't have to pay it in my tax bill.
Kind of interesting.
That would be the argument. So, I mean, think of it as an impact fee. I mean, the impact of C&D waste on the taxpayer is generated by those people that are, building or demolishing and otherwise creating the problem. We socialize that cost by putting it into the tax base. And so, my friends next door who are, tearing the building down are, I'm paying for their, they're paying something, obviously, but I'm also paying.
Subsidizing. Yeah.
And subsidizing it. So, I mean, we're socializing the cost of C&D waste, which is really driven off of, development and demand, that's all.
That might be a great thing for the committee to recommend.
Really? Now, to me, I see it as privatizing waste options. Is that kind of what you're saying? Or am I not framing that right?
By putting it in the tax base, we're socializing the cost.
Correct. Yep.
But we're privatizing C&D,
Right.
collecting a fee on the, on the building side and just, getting out of the business.
Interesting. Did you comment, Tim?
Well, I was just going to say, in the past, what we were doing is, because you have to think about the flip side of it is the municipal solid waste, which is kind of what has always bothered me. The C&D used to subsidize the MSW waste, and once a market was created, so to speak, there's some now skimming, if you will,
There's
what was.
competition, sure. Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to talk about socializing the C&D waste, because we'd still have the other side of the coin that nobody wants, which is everyone's garbage that goes to the landfill.
And I think that's actually what's been socialized, is the cost of the disposal of the municipal solid waste.
Yeah.
Okay.
As well as the C&D.
Well, no, the C&D's always paid its way
Yeah.
and subsidized
Yeah.
the MSW.
Yeah, it actually has overpaid, way overpaid.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
it's carrying the end of the.
Yes.
That's
Which
the
is
revenue
kind of
stream.
what we
Okay.
lost, Dave.
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
that's
this.
the problem. We're losing the revenue stream.
Well, no, I think the problem is that the waste stream is, each waste stream doesn't pay its own way.
That's right.
So you could do it on a building permit and pay for the C&D waste on the building permit and take it out of,
Oh, yeah.
as a way to get around having to subsidize.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of interesting.
Except if they decide to go to an alternative source, they'd be paying twice.
That's the point I was trying to make. Yeah. I think the law protects has some.
Cliff?
Might be interested to look at. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Without,
Cliff has
This
a.
new,
Nantucket, only twice?
this
I think
this
that's
new
an
agreement
intriguing, it's an
will
intriguing way, it's a different
change it.
way of approaching the same problem. And
I'll tell you how difficult it was to negotiate as far as we got, and one
It's
piece at a
tough.
time, please.
We have the, for instance, a permit to pay for the waste. We had a shingle permit, we still have a shingle permit, and I was told that was for throwing the old shingles to the dump. But we still have a shingle permit, and when you go to the dump, they charge you to throw the shingles to the dump.
Right.
How about that one?
Interesting idea. Okay. All right. All set with solid waste? Okay. Thank you again, Kara. Next item, the date of our next meeting is Monday, January 27th, 4 o'clock here. And I believe we are doing debt service? Oh, county, that's right, excuse me, county budget. That's right, the week following week.
A whole meeting for the county fire?
County and,
Okay,
I think they're also on the agenda warrant articles too.
Should we put it with something else?
Can
we put it with-
Well, actually, you know, you can do on Monday, you can, I can take you through the warrant.
Yeah.
The board, so FYI, will update, the board approved the warrant last night.
Oh,
There was a lot of formatting that had to be done, and a couple of articles had to be dealt with. Erica was working on it, and she ran into some kind of snafu with the, some chart. In any case, we hope to have it up, online tomorrow, so, but I'll let you know when it's up, and so you guys can go and start taking a look at it.
Great.
I mean, I think you know a majority of it, it's all the usual stuff, the citizen stuff, you've heard about some of the other warrant articles, but you can look at it and start thinking.
Okay.
Is there anything we
Fire
should,
station didn't go on.
Fire station did not make it.
Didn't make it. Not this year. Jim?
So can we, I remember last week, we got the wonderful gift of not meeting on Monday. Is there any chance of a reprise?
Well, we have the county budget though.
I love the county, but
How we
I
did it
could put it
$4
with
bucks.
another
Well,
item.
hold on.
the county is like,
And it's already scheduled, you have to remember, I have.
we spend 15 minutes on the county, I'll be on.
Both for that as well, so.
I'm just saying,
You know, if we're going to cancel the meeting this week, probably either be Tuesday or Thursday.
Okay. I'll take
Okay.
you. Monday,
Thursday would be great because I'm traveling on Thursday.
Well,
Yeah, at
you know,
all.
what, actually, we're doing,
Lord
well,
wanted
let's talk, what's that? Just review of warrant articles, which is the same as Tuesday. So this is the schedule I have, so we could, in theory, review of warrant articles, really,
Did you already post that county review?
Yes.
that's on Monday.
For Monday, yeah.
Right.
We just, having a time crunch with getting the county budget, do there?
Do you want to put that, push that back?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I was gonna do a PowerPoint for you, but.
oh, isn't that?
No,
Well, let me, are you comfortable with Monday for county?
yeah.
I can reschedule them if you want.
No,
Push it.
Because Jimmy, we want to make Jim happy.
No. I can't come Monday, so I was hoping that.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it might work out.
So go ahead and have the meeting.
All the meetings,
Well, we certainly have the 48-hour
Oh,
rule.
oh, right. So I think it just.
I'm sorry for making things.
No,
I don't think we care, whatever.
Well, you know what, we could push
We
it,
certainly don't mind nothing.
we could push it back to Tuesday. Just have to change the agenda, and then cancel Monday's meeting, and then we can still talk about the warrant articles Tuesday. and
yeah.
Thursday. How does everyone feel about that? Because we're doing pretty darn good.
sounds good to me.
So, but you would be Thursday.
We'll meet Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay,
Yeah, we can talk about the warrant articles Thursday, so you're okay.
yeah, and I'll be absent on Monday as well for that service presentation. I did talk with Deb Whitehouse today, but she requested a special invitation because she hasn't done one these years. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'll talk with them, I'll talk with them.
No, it's
Fine.
Yeah, no, I think if everyone's comfortable, we can cancel the 27th and just, we'll meet on the 28th and 30th.
Yeah.
Okay? Great, so the next day of the next meeting is Tuesday, January 28th, 4:15 at the Nantucket Middle School cafeteria. Going once, twice? We're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you. Everybody have a nice weekend. See you on Tuesday at the
See,
middle school.
You got the damn thing canceled. I wondered about that. We we spent 15 minutes on that.
Is that right? It's a quickie?
Yeah, it's nothing there. What are you gonna talk about? There's nothing to talk about here. It's one of those things that you got, it's one of those things you gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah, But,
Not a whole lot there.
there's not. You know?
You? Is that you? Oh, okay. Okay. All right, good job.
Support last year on it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that we got rid of the Monday meeting. See, Matt, what we spent most of our time on solid waste talking about the future. Not talking about 2015 as much as talking about what's going to happen. You know, and that's what Kara said. I said, what about 2016? She said, well, we'll have to see what happens then.
Where I think it would be, we're going
I'm sitting
here,
there saying,
that's why I said, certainly reading sort of the stuff in the newspaper.
yeah. No, I agree.
Software she has.
Yeah, and probably even unintended consequences. Like, we're not even thinking of that.
All right.
That's a good work.
Huh?
I've looked at this.
I just wish, see, I think the issue that what David's talking about is that you can sit by, and we can sit by and let Reese focus on the